You feel it, don't you? Every time you're at the checkout line, you definitely feel it at the gas station. It's this nagging feeling that your money just isn't going as far as it used to. Well, there's a reason for that, and it's what we're calling the hidden price of oil. Let's break down what that really means for all of us.
Okay, let's just get right to it. It's the one question we're all asking ourselves. Why is everything so darn expensive all of a sudden? Look, it's not in your head. There's an invisible force driving up the cost of nearly everything you buy, and it all traces back to a single number. You know, we all fixate on that giant number on the sign at the gas station. We see it go up, we get angry, and we think that's the problem. But it's not. That price, that's just a symptom. It's the most obvious, flashing red light on a global system that's under some serious strain.
So, to really understand what's happening, we have to look right past the gas station. This isn't really a story about gasoline. It's a story about crude oil itself, black gold. It's not just another commodity, it's more like a universal currency, and its price sends ripples into every single corner of our lives.
You know, Dr. Elizabeth Reed puts it absolutely perfectly here. That extra money you're paying, it isn't just for fuel. You're actually paying for geopolitical tensions on the other side of the planet, for shaky supply chains, for decisions made in boardrooms thousands of miles away. What you're really paying for is fragility.
So just how deep does this dependence really go? When we think of oil, our minds immediately jump to our cars. But believe me, what we put in our gas tanks is just the tiny tip of a very, very large iceberg.
Now, this is fascinating. We tend to think a barrel of oil just becomes fuel for our cars, right? But check this out. Less than half of it actually becomes gasoline. And look at this huge chunk here. A full 20%, 1/5 of every single barrel becomes other products. And folks, that category is where oil becomes invisible and completely essential.
Just look around you right now. Seriously, the clothes you're wearing, the case on your phone, it's all made from petroleum derivatives. But here's the kicker, the really critical part. Oil is in the fertilizer that grows our food, and it's the diesel that powers the trucks that bring it to the store. It is, quite literally, the foundation of our entire food supply.
And this quote, wow, it just nails the central problem. It really is the lifeblood of our economy. We have built our entire modern world on the assumption that oil would be cheap and plentiful forever. Trying to rip it out now? It's like trying to perform major surgery on yourself. It's almost impossible to do without killing the patient.
So the obvious question here is, right, if prices are this high, the market should respond. Just turn on the taps, pump more oil, problem solved. But the answer to why that's not happening is where things get really, really complicated. See, the answer is that it's not one single problem we can fix. The price crisis we're all living through is the result of what you could call a perfect storm. A collision of multiple, powerful forces, all hitting at the exact same time, putting this massive squeeze on the global supply.
This storm basically has 4 key ingredients, and they all feed into each other. It starts with fear, or geopolitical panic. Then you've got a deep structural problem, this investment gap. That gets made worse by a physical refinery bottleneck. And then finally, all of this was slammed by a huge surge in demand. Let's quickly take them one by one.
First up, panic. A lot of the world's oil comes from politically unstable places, so the mere threat of a conflict or a blocked shipping lane can send the markets into a total frenzy. Prices can spike based purely on fear, not on an actual physical shortage of oil.
Second is the investment gap. And honestly, this is a huge piece of the puzzle. See, oil fields aren't like a magic tap you can just turn on and off. They naturally decline over time. And for years, we just haven't been investing enough to find new sources. So the key thing to get here is, without that new investment, global oil production doesn't stay flat. It actively shrinks year after year.
And number 3 is a bottleneck most people never even think about. You can't put crude oil directly into your car. It has to be refined first. But we've been closing refineries in the West for decades. The ones that are left? They're running at near max capacity, 24/7. There is literally no slack in the system.
So you've got this incredibly fragile system, fear driving up prices, a shrinking supply base, and a physical bottleneck. And then, into that fragile system, the world unleashed a tidal wave of post-pandemic demand. Everybody wanted to travel again, to buy things, to get back to normal, all at once. And the system just broke.
So how does this massive, global perfect storm actually hit you and your family? Well, it acts like a hidden tax, a tax on everything. It doesn't show up as a line item on your receipt, but it makes every single part of your life more expensive.
You know, this quote from Sarah Jenkins, she just puts a voice to what so many of us are feeling. It's that sense of being cornered. Watching the prices for everything tick up day after day, feeling your budget shrink, and just seeing your quality of life go down with nothing you can do about it.
And look, this isn't just a vague feeling. You can see it plain as day in the numbers. This shows you what that hidden tax looks like on a basic shopping trip. Your apples are suddenly 30% more expensive because the diesel for the truck that brought them costs more. The bread is 20% more because the fertilizer used to grow the wheat. It all comes from this same energy price surge.
And here's the simple mechanism for how it works. When a farmer or a trucking company's fuel costs skyrocket, they can't just eat that cost. They have to pass it on to the grocery store, which then, of course, has to pass it on to you. This chain reaction, this is the primary engine of global inflation.
And this isn't just hitting our individual wallets. On a global scale, what's happening is a monumental transfer of wealth. We are talking about hundreds of billions of dollars flowing out of nations that use oil and into the hands of nations that produce it. This single commodity price is actively reshaping the global balance of power as we speak.
This all feels pretty dire, I know. And it leads to that ultimate question we've been hearing for decades. Is this it? Is this happening because we're finally hitting peak oil and actually running out of the stuff? Well, the answer might actually surprise you.
The answer lies in this powerful analogy. The Stone Age did not end because the world ran out of stones. Just think about that for a second. We didn't stop using stone tools because we couldn't find any more rocks. We stopped using them because we invented something better, bronze.
And that is the surprising, maybe even hopeful truth about our whole situation. We're not going to run out of oil. There's plenty of it still in the ground. No, the oil age will end for the exact same reason the Stone Age did. Not because we exhaust the resource, but because we innovate and invent something better to take its place.
So what this crisis is really about isn't geology, it's about tolerance. We are not running out of oil. What we're running out of is our willingness to pay its price, not just in dollars, but in global stability and our quality of life. The pain we are all feeling right now at the checkout counter and at the gas pump, that's the powerful, motivating force that will drive the next great human innovation. The only real question left is, what will we build next?